All right, all right. The record button is on. Ceria, CeCe, good to see you, sis.
Yes, absolutely. Good to see you too. It's such a blessing to, have you and, these divine conversations.
I love it, and prayerfully, it may not go 3 hours.
Right. Prayerfully, right? Because,
Yeah,
we get one and it's like, what? It's like 3, 4 hours in. We like, ooh, we got to hang up.
I know. Look, I don't even feel like 3 hours. It's like what happened? We just scheduled for an hour, and
Yeah.
it's like
Right.
times three.
But that's just the
Um,
power of a very good conversation, a meaningful conversation, same vibration wavelength of a conversation where you don't even realize all these hours and pass.
Absolutely, it's like just time just maybe it just stopped.
Hmm, maybe to allow us to get all that goodness out.
I know, because it's like, and it just flows. So it's really just a good vibe, for real, for real. I
Mhm.
appreciate it. Maybe the souls are are doing their thing.
Yes, when you are in a certain state vibrationally, like, I mean, I like to think that my soul is in there just doing backflips, like, yes, like, finally, like, yes, let her out, let us out. You know what I mean? Allow us to be in this organic space of conversation. So I think they be in there doing a happy dance.
Absolutely. Sorry about that. I don't know. Somebody was calling me, so let me put this on. Do not disturb.
Okay.
I don't know if I went away from the screen or not.
No,
Um,
it's just like,
yeah,
I think.
absolutely. And they go deep. We talk about everybody. The parentals, as the kids say, don't they are funny
Yeah,
conversations.
very good
Um,
conversation.
so so yeah, it's like okay, yep, been there, done that, and they be talking like this. It's so funny. I wanted, I feel like if we're going to have the conversation because we're letting people in, we
Hmm.
probably should start from the beginning.
Let's do it. Sounds
Let's
good.
let's do it. We met. We didn't really get to meet until we had our Hello Seven coaching circle. We had already signed up for the Hello Seven coaching, and I
Mhm.
maybe start from the journey of how you got there. If you want to go first, would you like me to go first?
No, I'll go first. Wow, wow. Okay, so
It's a year.
going going back, like,
It was a year ago, right?
I know it was. Oh my gosh. All right, so I would say sometime early 2023, maybe March-ish. I don't know, March, April. I have no idea, but um, I remember finding out about ROI probably like, I don't know, 4 days, 3 days before ROI or something like that. And I really wanted to go, right? The lineup was like everybody I wanted to see. So I'm like, okay, no worries. I'm just going to like sign up on like the email or something.
Okay.
And then shortly after that, I received an email about the Hello Seven coaching program.
Okay.
I'm like, wow, this is like, okay, this is what I wanted to do because I have been asking for a program that would help me with structuring my coaching
Mhm.
that I'm actually doing. So I said, fine. And I joined. I just said, okay. And then I signed up. So
You signed up for the coaching certification
for the coaching certification,
straight from the email.
straight from the email, they had like you answer some questions and then it's like, if you qualify, book a call, somebody will call you. Someone called me, they told me about it, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then I
Okay,
signed up.
you ain't have to pray about that what is that 5-digit number?
No, it was like I had literally had just asked, like, I need to find a coaching program that would help me with the foundational work. And it was like, bam, here it is right here. It was like really early. It was like 7 something in the morning
Mm.
when I looked at my email and it was like there.
the answer. That's what they say though. Once you put it in the universe, it's already there. It's just
Right.
waiting. I love that. I did go to ROI.
Mm.
And so I was right there in the midst when you see those pictures that they're starting to circulate from when we were standing in front of Rachel. I did go to ROI, but when I went to ROI, like I was doing stuff like I was having out of body experiences because I signed up initially, I think in November. She had a Make Money Moves challenge through Breakfast Club.
Mhm.
And I was like, you know what? I think I need this something to kind of give me a push or whatever. So just doing that in those, I think it was 7 days or something. I don't know how many days it was. It just got me just like my juices flowing and not procrastinating. It was around just taking action, taking action. And so at the end of that, it offered the offer was to join the club, the We
Oh,
Shall Be Millionaires, the club. And I was like, I probably need to do that because it was giving community vibes
okay.
and,
Right.
and like the people that were in that challenge, we were starting to gel and things. And what
Mhm.
came with that was an ROI ticket.
Oh, wow. So it was like join a club and an ROI ticket.
For me, I don't know.
Oh.
Different people probably got different things because it was based upon it was two different offerings based upon like your revenue or your
Mhm.
income or something. So the offer might have been different for different people. But I
Mhm.
got the ROI ticket. My dilemma was the ROI date was like 2 days or 3 days before I needed to be in LA because I was ascending as a sacred woman through Queen of Fua's rites of passage.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I was like, man, that's gonna be kind of difficult to get from Cleveland to Puerto Rico, from Puerto
Mhm.
Rico to LA. Let me see what this looks like.
Mhm.
And I was like, fuck it. Let's just do it.
Let's do
So I
it.
figured it out and I had to leave the night before because I what I didn't want to do for sure was miss getting to LA.
Mhm.
I was already etched in stone. I was supposed to be there. My people was coming, flight was being taken and stuff. So I I get to ROI and they had their own like ROI group and everything where
Mhm.
everybody was connecting and they did little network social things and everything. And what I went with the intent was as I was, you know, leaning into the coaching as well and getting my certification and all of that as a life coach,
Mhm.
what I felt the missing piece was the business piece, right? Like what does this really need to look like? What is the
Mhm.
framework I need it for myself? And if I want to coach people and then they have a desire that they want to, you know, go live their dreams and make them a reality, what does that need to look like from a business perspective? And
Right.
so went with the intent. I said, if they offer business coaching, I'm doing it. That was my whole intent when I went.
Uh-huh.
My intent was I didn't know for sure that she would, but at one point while I was in the club, there came out a post that asked the question, if we offered coaching, would you be interested?
Mhm.
Know what that looked like. I didn't know if it was business coaching or what, but I said yes. And so I went with that intent. Get there, girl. And this is the last day of the event. The event was a whole vibe. It was like I've been to many a conferences and it was nothing like it. They had hair gel and everything in the bathrooms, but for that in itself
Mhm.
was like, this is so different.
Uh-huh.
And um, the so it was, I think it was close to the last, whoever was going to go on last. I think it was Myron Golden. And she was talking about how, and everybody was there, girl. Like you said, Earn Your Leisure, like all the people, Pinky Cole.
Yes.
I was,
Pinky Cole. Everybody was there. Yes.
I was there for Pinky Cole. Let's not get
Mhm.
into it. When I saw her name, it was like, oh, I need to go because I
Mm.
see myself as the Pinky Cole of barbecue.
Yeah.
Midwest Way, once Miss Midwest Way is in its glory, look out. And
Mhm.
so um, she was saying, you know, we're all entrepreneurship is always going to be about taking risks. You know, you all took a risk to come here, all of the things, right? So you're never not going to take risk. So then she started talking about uh, Hello Seven and how they, who they serve, the underserved, and all of those things. And it's to a point where she doesn't have enough coaches to serve. She
Mm-hmm.
started talking about the coaching program and all of that. I can't even remember all the words that was coming out of her mouth. But the one thing I do recall her saying that has stuck with me was she said she had us stand if we were interested, pretty much. And then she said, turn around and look at that seat from where you just were sitting. And she said, say goodbye, because that was the old you girl. It felt like electricity went through my.
I love that though. I love that.
It was crazy. And so then she had us come forward to the stage.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I think I see in most of the advertisements, where you see all of us standing around her at the
Yeah.
stage. And then they handed out like the application. I didn't look at anything. I didn't. I had a range, and as long as it was in that range, I was like, I'm doing this. Because I had already been paying for the life coaching cert, so I had an idea of what
Mm-hmm.
that price tag might look like. And when I saw it, I just prayed. I was like, I got the money sitting there, was liquid emergency fund, and you had the option where you could pay in full or you could do the payments. I was like, let me just do the payments for
Mm-hmm.
now, and then I'll have a client and then be making some revenue and it'll pay for itself, is what I was thinking. And so now, mind you, this is the last day, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
got to get out of there. I can't even stay for the finale, which was the party and all of that. So I leave and get on the flight. I just signed that paperwork. I talked to Keishel for like a minute or two. I had a couple of questions because I was in the club and I kind of wanted to understand. Like, I had just dropped 5K on the club. Now
Right.
I'm doing this. Like, how that's gonna work? And she was saying
Mm-hmm.
there were different products or whatever. So I fly to LA. When I
Mm-hmm.
get there, the first person I see is my Sacred Woman practitioner, which is like a mentor.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling her what happened. I mentioned Rachel's name. She knows Rachel. She went to high school with Rachel.
Oh wow.
She says Rachel is the real deal.
Mm.
Watching her kind of have a life of poverty, blah, blah, blah. And her cousin and Rachel are like really good friends to this day.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that I would have felt, based upon that price tag, like buyer's remorse. And it
Mm-hmm.
just felt like total alignment. I didn't feel no way about it. I was like, hey, I set this intention. It met me. I'm supposed to say yes. And so it just felt like more confirmation when
Mm-hmm.
she did all of that. So I was like,
Right.
okay. I was like, so here we go. Long story, but it was.
Yeah, I mean, it was like once I made the first payment, because I went with the payment option as well. And I literally was like, here go. Like, let's do it. Like, like it's nothing else I can do because I didn't already pay my money. And and sometimes it's and that's for speaking for me and maybe for others, right? Once you invest or put your money down for something, it's like game on. Like you
Game
don't
on.
have to play these games and ask for a refund and all of these things, right? We've made a commitment to do something and go full speed ahead, right?
Yeah, step
Add
up.
things about what we want, and then when they show up, it's like boom, all right, well here it go, let's do it. And then now there's all these other things where you like talking yourself out of it or whatever the situation may
Right.
be.
Right.
But not this time. I was like, this investment pricing and what I just paid in this down payment, let's go.
Let's go. For real, for real. And I really desired it. I wanted it. It showed up on the path for me. I didn't know that I wanted to be a coach, or that I had been even coaching for over 30 years for free. And
Mhm.
that was one of the questions on the application, right? It's like, why do you want to do this or something like this? I was like, because I've been coaching for 30 years for free. So I know this is what I'm meant to do, is what I would do for free.
Right, right.
And the other thing, it just felt just right.
Mhm.
Like it was the full circle of a missing piece
Mhm.
for
Yeah,
me.
that's a good point that you bring that up too, because now, like, that I think about it, well, even prior to, but um, when I was asking for more of like a business foundation, like with the coaching and things like that, for even the clients that I had, prior to you coming to the certification program, I was asking for other things as well. So I was asking for, I need to get out of my comfort zone. I need to meet my tribe. I need to like explore. I need to get out of this house. I need to like do these things. So when the coaching, opportunity program came up, that opportunity, I'm like, you know what? This is probably going to hit all of those buttons, right? All of those areas that I said, that I wanted, to do and to experience. And boy, did it, did it.
Hello. When you said that, you know what thought ran through my mind when we had that first session with Rachel and she told us all your shit's gonna come up.
Oh, it came up like triple fold. Like, I'm like, what
Yeah.
is going on right now?
It didn't feel like it came up. It felt like it came down and sat on you.
Yeah, it was like shh, like a shower. Like, okay, you think, and it's funny because like when I think about it, this is hilarious because when I think about it, it's like, you know, that ego part of you or that side of you where you're asking for stuff and it's here and it's just like bam. Oh, you think you're gonna go and do that? Well, here's something else.
What are
Okay,
they?
well then here's
The
something else.
Yo, what is that? The judge, your mind, like kind of really protecting you, I think, right? Isn't that
Yeah,
what?
yeah, the ego, like, that ego side, excuse me, is there to protect you, right? But if you allow it to take over, right, it starts to kind of dictate and you start talking yourself out of things and everything. But when the path is like divine, it's for you to go to the next level. It's everything that you asked for, right?
You're excited.
You like excited and then it's just like, okay, well, here goes something. Now let me see if you're going to bow out or you going to find a way to keep moving forward. So the whole entire time through the coaching certification program, I feel like, what do they call the people at the track where they be jumping over the
Oh, the hurdles. The
the hurdles.
hurdles.
So like the whole time I would take a couple more steps and I had to jump over another one and jump over another one, right? It was just like one of those things. It was like up and down. It was a roller coaster ride.
Especially
But
when we got in the thick of it. Oh my God.
oh yeah, yeah. That's when it was just like we in this. Like we in here.
For real. For real, for real. I
Yeah.
remember this makes me think about when we started the coaching circles themselves. Because
Mm-hmm.
that's really when we met.
Yeah, that's when we
Yeah.
met.
And I think the first did I was that the first time I volunteered? I think the first time that I volunteered, who did I get? It might have been, oh, I think it was Monique. That's who I met first in the
Yes.
breakout room. It was Monique. And then we had the coaching session. And then the next time we had the breakout room, it was you and I.
Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
that was cool. Now I don't remember our first breakout session. I just know that we were in the first one and it
Mm-hmm.
revived. And I remember saying I actually I wrote it in our reflection notes
Mm-hmm.
that we had how I wanted to reach out to you and see if you would be interested in being accountability partners.
Mm-hmm.
I just had that vibe that it was like, okay, because we kind of like really hit it off.
Right.
And so before I could reach out, the next coaching circle breakout session, we ended up in there together.
Again. Yes, I remember.
And I was like, well, here she is.
Right.
So,
Yes. Like,
and
okay.
really, I guess I had set that intention, right? Because that was my
Yes.
intent to reach out. And the universe was like, okay, here you go.
Right. Right. It's like, okay, well, here's another opportunity.
And I remember it like, did we connect after that, like
I
separately?
think, yeah, we did. Like immediately after our coaching circle, we like connected and it was like, okay, let's do this.
And it
Yes.
was good because we got to talking about metaphysical. We talked about everything. How long was that call? Because I don't even remember
I
that.
don't know. We start our calls off for 2, 3 hours. I don't even know.
Oh my God, it was so good. I do think one of the things, I don't know if it was in the first call or not, but we talked about like the journey, like how we got here. And one of the things that you said that stuck out to me, because I believe that I talked about the narcissistic and all of that.
Mhm.
Oh, I think this was the period where I was saying all the things, all of the clean, politically correct things. And
Yes.
you said, hey, I was saying how the marriage was so traumatic, and I want to
Mhm.
serve people that have had traumatic experiences and don't know who they are and all of
Right.
that. And you just politely slid me an email and said, hey, consider this. And I
Yes.
remember reading the email and I said, oh shit, me.
Yes.
It was so funny because it was like really saying the thing, like saying narcissistic
Right.
dynamics, toxic dynamics, abuse, like all of the things. And I'm like, well, I'll be damned. That's me. I thought in my head I was saying that, but I really wasn't saying that. And it really helped break a lot
Mhm.
open.
Yes.
And I
And that's
appreciate it.
where that's where, you know, community and tribe comes in at. That's where comfort zone, you come out of that. That's where all of this comes in at, because as I said, like, you know, who knows how long it would have taken for you to, you know, come up with that. Like sometimes we need to be together so that we can see outside of the box, because we too close to it. So I mean, if
Yeah.
you helped me with so many things too, with like soul liberation and the Akashic records, and me trying to separate it, and you're like, well, why is it separate? And I'm like, oh yeah, it really doesn't have to be.
Yeah, I couldn't see what you were seeing. I was thinking like, does it have to be separate? Because it seemed like they belong together to me.
Yeah, so sometimes it's like talking and like letting someone else hear it, and then they give you a different perspective or a different idea, or like, hey, it's just this, it's nothing else, it's just that, you know?
And I was intrigued by when I went to your website. I don't know if we initially talked about Reiki yet, but I was talking about how Reiki helped me and I enjoy it. And what was so profound to me, because I went the therapy route and I did all of the modality. I needed a lot. I felt like I needed a whole slew of modalities after coming
Mhm.
all out of that bullshit.
Yeah.
And and your words, like they still it feels like I still hear your words, because you said what you had been through, you needed help at a soul level.
Yeah. And I knew it too. It was not a mental level, it was a soul level. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was so freaking powerful.
Yeah.
What talk a little bit more about that, because I know people would probably want to probably hear like what that looked like and what that meant like for you. Are you okay with sharing that?
Yeah, sure. Because, you know, I'm sure that it will help someone else. But, you know, sometimes in life we have things that happen to us, and it can, like, let me back up a little bit. You ever hear the phrase like rock you to your core or shake you
Mhm.
to your core or something like that, right? And I've heard, you know, the elders, you know, in my family, like talk about it and using that actual terminology, right? Until it happens to you, you do not understand exactly what they were trying to say, right? So I actually had one of those moments, right? And if you look at it from a metaphysical way, it's like the tower card in the tarot deck. It's just like, you know, you see the tower, you see people jumping out, you know, it's on fire. It's like something to the extreme, right? But until you actually experience a loss or experience something that literally rocks you to your core, it's kind of hard to understand what that feels like. Even though, you know, I had a lot of people, you know, who, you know, they were genuine, they felt it with me, they understood, right? But what happened to me was the sudden death of my father, and it was very quick, unexpected, out of the blue, right? And
Yeah.
one of those to your core moments. And I felt as if I was disconnected from self. That's how I knew that what I was experiencing was um at a soul level. Like I was literally detached, if that makes sense. I,
Absolutely. I was too. I just didn't know it.
yeah, it's just like, you're looking at yourself outside yourself. They totally sound like strange to people who may listen to this, but as I said, when that time comes, or if it's something that has you ever experienced or you have experienced, then you can resonate with what I'm saying here.
Yeah.
And I knew, like I said, that mentally I was there, yeah, still grieving and things like that, but I knew inside like didn't feel right. And I
Mhm.
just went through the, dark night of the soul, spiritual awakening, all the things that, they call it these days, but it's no fluff. It's actually, it's real. For those who don't believe so, when you have to really look inside like of yourself and understand that it is more meaning to life than these little frivolous things that we are complaining about.
Absolutely.
And then you have to go on this journey, and that's basically, how soul liberation was birthed, because it was my journey of going through that, and trying to find my way back, through Reiki healing, through Akashic records, to understand like, why am I this way.
Yeah.
I always knew from a child that I was intuitive. I could like see things and hear things and things like that. But as we go through life, we turn it off, and but that pivotal moment was unfortunately that tragedy that ignited everything again.
Yeah.
So I just said, you know what? I'm going to just go ahead and I'm just going to go and walk on down this path. Um, and I mean, I did, and I haven't looked back. Soul liberation it was actually birthed out of my pain.
Absolutely. And you just said walk down this path. What does that look like? What does that mean when you said walk down this path? Was that like starting Reiki or what was the
Yeah,
path?
it was like self discovery. Like, what is this all about? Because when you have a separation of self, like none of those other things matter anymore.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
start to understand that here today, going tomorrow. And it was just like, it's one of those experiences where you have to now see like, well, what is my purpose? Like, what am I supposed to be doing? Because I'm doing all of these other things, but it's not in alignment with what I am called to do.
Right.
So we all, from a spirituality standpoint, in the work that I do, and this, from metaphysical to soul liberation to Akashic record works, like our spiritual awakening is coming. However, that awakening happens, that's your path. I can't tell you what that is, but I would say don't ignore the signs. Don't ignore the synchronicities. Don't ignore the opportunities it is to show up and speak into someone else's life. If someone would have told me like soul liberation is what, 5 years or something in, like 5 years ago, 6, 7, 10 years ago, that I would be doing this, I would
Right.
laugh. Like,
Right.
no, no, I don't
Mhm.
think so. Right. And everything is divine also, because once you realize that you're supposed to be on a certain path, all these other doors like start opening up for you. I i didn't know what Reiki was. I actually
Mhm.
walked into a class and thought I signed up for something, but it was Reiki. So I was even in the wrong class.
Were you?
And or was I right? And I'm like, well, let's roll with it. And I hadn't turned back, and I understood like, okay, this is how I heal myself.
Mhm.
This is how
Mhm.
I start to integrate back with, my soul, like, and I suffered soul loss and some other things as well because of the pain, but I understood that the purpose was bigger.
What's
Yeah.
soul loss? You soul loss. Ooh.
So soul loss is when you actually have a traumatic experience, such as where you lose a part of yourself because you were so connected to another. So
Mm.
as you start to heal vibrationally and start to come to grips with whatever that it is, whatever happened and things like that, then you start to heal. So, healing is ongoing. I wouldn't have even been able to talk about this 5 years ago, 6 years ago. There was a period of after this happened that I couldn't even speak about it. It was just too much for me. But healing, right? Once you start to heal, then things look a lot different and you start to understand, okay, I need to share this, I need to let people know, what this feels like. So liberation was birthed.
Thank God for it, because it's needed. I feel like my journey is a little similar. I suffered a huge loss. I was married at 22. We had only been married 7 months, and my husband died right. No, man, I was married at 23, right before my 24th birthday, and I didn't know what to do with that. And I was home with him when it happened, and
Mm,
I was scared. I didn't even. We were having a conversation. We were in two different rooms, and I
mhm.
looked where he was, maybe like a minute, if 2 minutes later, and his eyes were bloodshot red. He was foaming at the mouth, and I was just hollering because I was scared as
Oh
hell.
my
All of
gosh.
the things, and I didn't know what to do with myself. Who anticipates that? He's young. It was right before his 26th birthday.
Mm,
All of the things, and when the ambulance and stuff got there, we went to the hospital and we're waiting, and then his father comes out and says he passed. What? What?
yeah.
I probably cried for 30 days straight. It was just crazy. I just couldn't understand it. And we were in the church. His father was a pastor of a church. They was grooming him to take over the church. Like
Mm,
there was all this religious things at play. People told me the
mm,
craziest thing. Pick my next husband out at the grave site, like all of this stuff. And I
mm,
found myself trying to do all of the things that people were telling me to do. And
mhm.
that was not working at all. And then I feel like I just like life was just piling up on top of me. We were trying to get pregnant, and then I was missing my husband, and then a guy came along, and
Mhm.
my friends, when they would gather around me, one dude from the bunch was calling a little more often and all of the things, and I am sleeping with him and getting pregnant. And I,
Mm.
what?
Oh, wow.
Big cusser back then, like
Mhm.
believe it. And so I decided I wasn't even gonna have a baby.
Mm.
And the Lord had other plans. I called my girlfriend to go with me to get the deed done. And her grandmother's like, baby, when the Lord give you something, it's a blessing. And it was crazy.
Mhm.
My in-laws wanted me to keep the baby, but get rid of the boy. And I'm like, oh, I don't think I could do
A
that.
lot of decisions.
There were so many, what do we call them, synchronicities that happened in that time period that affected my life
Yeah.
currently to send
Mhm.
me on this path. Because what happened, so you said something key about kind of sharing along the way, like when we have those opportunities to kind of like
Right.
sow into somebody. I
Yeah.
was doing that all along. I didn't know that. And then when I came back from maternity leave after having my son, the day I was at work, I would meet, but didn't know it at the time, with who would become my third husband
Okay.
that very same day. And we ended up being in a 3 year affair. I'm just shortening the story because it's a long story. We ended up being in a 3 year affair. We broke up. I went on my way because I felt like that's the outcome of being involved with a married man. We
Right.
didn't see each other again maybe for 18, 20 years, however
Mm.
long it was. We ended up reconnecting, and ultimately we ended up getting married.
Okay.
And during that marriage, I became totally disconnected from myself and didn't know who I was.
Mm.
Not know who I was. And when the time came to finally get out of that marriage, because what I learned 3 months into the marriage, so we probably had reconnected 3 months before we decided, okay, we're gonna get married. And it's, y'all can read the book to get the story on that. And when it comes out, it's not out yet. And and what happened, we decided to get married, and then 3 months in, during that period, I'm thinking he don't think right, like something's off, right? And I said, maybe we need to see a counselor. I've been widowed for 25 years. You were married for 30 years.
Mhm.
Maybe we need to talk to somebody. So what I know we needed a woman. I knew we needed somebody black. We needed someone that understood black family dynamics and
Mhm.
also religious dynamics, because religion was at play. I identified at that point as a non-denominational Christian. He identified as a Jehovah's Witness, but he wasn't, you know, in with his family. And so he we found a woman. Our first session, I'm sitting on the couch over there. He's sitting on the couch over there. She's sitting in the middle. And I'm telling her what I'm thinking, like how I'm feeling. And she says, he's a narcissist.
Wow.
And he jumps up and he's like, oh, totally.
Oh
And
wow.
I'm looking like, what the hell is happening here?
Oh
And I had
wow.
heard that word, but I didn't know what it was.
Mhm.
Do you hear the bell ringing, or is that me?
I'm sorry. That's my phone. I just silenced it.
Oh, okay. I was like, is somebody trying to tell us something?
No, I'm like no.
You never know when we get together what's
I
going
know
on.
all these things are happening, right? Bells going off, dogs barking.
That's right. Bells be ringing for real sometimes. For real, for real. Like, okay.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. And he said, oh, totally. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I say to
Mhm.
her, I said, I've heard that word before. I said, but maybe I don't know what that is, because I'm thinking I didn't live with this man for 3 months. And now I'm finding out. And he like, totally. Well, you didn't tell me. And so she says, I need you to understand what you're getting into. He gave me all these worksheets and papers, but the one that I remember the most, it said 10 characteristics of a narcissist. And he
Wow.
had nine. Nine. I was like, what the? I did a lot of cussing, a lot of praying, a lot of talking to God. And what I realized, so we were going for a minute, and I realized, I was like, okay, this ain't a me problem. This ain't a we problem. This is a
Mhm.
you problem. So I'm
Mhm.
like, I'm going to stop going to counseling because I don't need it. I said, however, if you want to do something about this, I suggest that you continue on to work on this, or I'm out. I want a divorce.
Right. Right.
But me, I didn't honor myself in that because I knew something was off. I just couldn't put my finger on it.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with myself in that I felt like, okay, I know how screwed up I was and
Mhm.
how much grace the Lord had gave me. So I'm gonna extend grace because I could see that there was a lot going on and there was a lot at play that didn't have anything to do with me.
Mhm.
I'm going to give grace if he's willing to, talk with a counselor, all of the things. And so what ended up happening, we were also starting a business. I was like all of the things and doing the business, and my focus was really there. And I
Mhm.
feel like at the time I wasn't fully present in my own life. That was the piece that came in later. Like I feel like for you, when I heard you say about you ended up in the wrong class,
Yes. Mhm.
like that. So you're still being guided there. And what I will say, to make a long story short, so I went through hell in that marriage, and literally hell, because when it was finally over, a little bit after the 3 year mark, a lot happened. I became his caregiver. He, had a medical problem and full time caregiver. Couldn't leave him at home. There was just a lot emotional. All of the abuses, they were there. They were present. And so what ended up happening was I just didn't even know who I was. At the time, I was Selina Whitmore. I didn't even know that lady. I didn't know her at
Mhm.
all. And what was happening in the marriages, I kept compromising. I felt like I was always playing chess.
Okay.
Doing that, my spirit was saying one thing, but I would do something different. And what
Hmm.
was happening in that disconnection from me, it just stopped talking to me. It's like, girl, you ain't listening no way.
Right. After a while, it's drowned out because we're not following that guidance. We're allowing other thoughts to overpower the guidance.
Totally compromising myself.
Yeah.
I didn't know it then. And so when it was when he finally had like left,
Hmm.
because I felt like I was waiting on a sign for for the spirit to move in some way. I didn't know how. When he finally left, three maybe 5 days later, I think he left out on a Tuesday, took all his stuff, and then that Saturday he like sent me this crazy text, and I went to give him what for. I will tell you, Sasha came out. Sasha is my younger self that would get you your whole life together. And I was
Hmm.
like, you ain't gonna. I was trying to
Right.
be Christian and be, do all the right things and all the things, and it was just enough was enough. And so I
But
went to
sometimes we gotta. It goes back to what we were saying. It's like sometimes the mission we have to go through that, right? Because
had
disruptor coach is now birthed out of these experiences,
absolutely because
and we
I
had to
needed
get
me
there.
a me for
Hmm.
sure. And in doing that, after he got out of the house and we got divorced, I divorced his ass within 30 days.
Mm.
First of all, let's be clear. I laid on all the due dates to be done. I couldn't do another nothing, not a Selena. And I took my name back because I didn't know who she was. But Selena Kelley all day long. I
Yeah.
was her longer than I was anybody else. And
Right.
so what happened once once he was finally out and I cleaned the house and the energy and all of that, I had to go inward because the question that kept coming up for me was how the hell did I get here? What
Hmm.
happened? What is going on with me?
Yeah.
And you can't figure it out without going inward.
Right.
Period. Period.
Absolutely. Hmm.
And when I was in that space, I knew I needed something and I didn't know what it was. And what happened for me, I felt disconnected from myself in that I didn't feel feminine. I didn't feel anything. And a
Hmm.
girl showed up for me. I had been following her like when I first got married, feminine success.
Hmm.
And all of a sudden there she was. And she was offering something and I took it because for me, I think what resonated was she was me, like
Hmm.
my younger version of myself. Like I knew
Hmm.
her, I could see her. And I
Hmm.
signed up for that coaching, investing in myself in that coaching. And it, for me, I feel like it saved my life because it opened up a world to a lot of other things.
Right.
To be able to explore Reiki, like all of those things. I needed all of them. I learned on my journey, it just wasn't one specific thing. I needed the
Right.
Reiki, I
That's
needed
true.
Reiki
That's
because
true.
the Reiki lifted the energy because I kept feeling like this pressure and this weight on
Yeah.
it because I was doing all the things that I didn't want to do.
Yeah.
That Reiki set my soul.
Reiki is such a profound modality. It
Mhm.
will it'll definitely align you spiritually, and it'll clear the fog
It
that you
did.
have over you to give you an opportunity to connect with self, to come
It
back
did.
to self. It's such a powerful modality. And like you said, as far as not just having one modality, like
Absolutely.
my clients, they actually have like they get Reiki, they get the Akashic records, they get coaching, they get the whole thing because it goes hand in hand.
Absolutely. And I believe to really be a coach of purpose to help people that need deep
Hmm.
work, inner child work,
Right.
um, spiritual work, like all of the things. And in what we went through, that's why all of our shit came up, because we needed to be able
Right.
uh, to have gone through it to be able to even help someone else. And I
Right.
realized when I was getting the coaching, and it was a year-long program, that's when I found out, okay, coaching is really a profession. I had no idea. And I was like, "Shit, I've been doing this for 30 years. I didn't even know, right?" And
Right.
so
Right.
I decided, I said, well, maybe I need to get two for one, because this
Mhm.
is starting to feel in alignment.
Mhm.
And so I
Yes, that's my words. You know, I love it. Alignment.
totally was. And so I started doing all of that. But what I realized, because at the end of it, I needed to secure my first client. I wasn't ready.
Mhm.
Still needed a lot of healing, because
Right.
what started happening, the narcissism brought stuff to the surface, but there was so many layers under there. I realized I had been grieving for 30 years over the death of my husband, and I didn't know it, because so much life had kept just piling on
Just
top. So
following on.
I
That
had
root chakra
to
was blocked.
totally,
Mhm.
totally. I had to, I had to do inner child work. I had to do the teenage me. I had to do like all the layers of it.
Yeah.
And what
Yeah.
was, hmm go
That
ahead.
shadow work is it's I like what you said, the layers, right? And then now we have to peel the onion. We gotta peel it all back until we start getting to the middle, and then we find out, here it is.
There
This
was
is
so
it.
much, yes. And for me, what that looked like was codependency, um, abandonment
Yeah.
issues, probably lightweight, some mother wounds
Hmm.
that I didn't realize was there. Just like so many things. And I thought I had done all the work, because
You think you was good. You say I'm good.
I've done small groups with grief, like all the things,
You
right?
said I'm good. I don't need no work.
Oh my God. And I thought I was somebody when I was saying to him, let's go to therapy, because I done already done it and everything. And I'm thinking, okay, we just need communication skills.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Woo!
I'm telling you, when it hits you like a ton of bricks.
Girl, like a Mack truck, I feel
Yeah,
like.
and it does. And there are some who only want to touch a layer of it and think that that's going to be healed. And you really can't. Like you really, really have to spend time, years and years of healing self. Like it's been some years since that happened to me, but I am still healing, you
Yeah,
know. But the good part about all of this is that soul liberation was birthed out of it. I'm
yeah,
helping other people. I'm telling my story because they experience the same type of um trauma in some kind of way, or
absolutely.
out of body experience in some kind of way, and they don't know what it is. For some reason, my makeup, I don't know, right? Because I'm a healer. When I actually did all of my work and came to find out that that is what I'm supposed to be doing, I just automatically knew that something was wrong with my soul.
Yep, yep. Absolutely. And that's how I feel, even with knowing to say, okay, let me receive this, what this girl is saying, because it just resonated. And everything, I you could have told me that I was coaching and that I was doing all of the things, and it just kept, all of the pieces kept falling into place,
Yeah.
a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
I think we're in this microwave society. Everybody want everything right now.
Oh,
Happen.
goodness. Talk about that microwave society. Yes. And this is the reason why we don't have long lasting results. This is the reason why we can't get our businesses to be sustainable, because we are out here creating businesses that are not in alignment with who we really are. And
Absolutely.
when you are doing the thing in your business that is in alignment with who you are at soul level, there's no effort for anything outside of that.
Yeah,
And it isn't until you go down that road and ask yourself, like, what should I be doing? What am I good at? And then allow yourself the time to hear that come back to you, and then go deeper, and deeper and deeper.
absolutely.
and find out exactly what it is that you're supposed to be doing.
And that's where my framework unfolded and came out for me. I
Yes, shout out to your framework.
Yeah, because that's a whole nother level, right? That's a whole nother piece. And you're the framework expert.
Yes,
I
I love that framework.
I didn't even get the final piece till we were well probably
Hmm.
I don't even know how far in we were into the coaching. And the missing piece was the presence.
Yeah, yeah.
Presence.
Because you had all of the pieces, right? So that's
Mhm.
that's what it's about. So as you're, headed towards alignment, like you knew where you were going, since we first met, right? You knew where you were going. You had all of these pieces and you knew what you wanted this to be called and that. So it was there. It was just scattered.
It was scattered.
And so you started to bring all of it together and we started talking about it in the Reiki and Akashic record and everything. And now you're like, oh, well, this piece just go here. Oh, and this piece is just gonna be that. And then and then now you have your framework.
And I'm recognizing too that it's going to continue to evolve
Absolutely.
because I am in a position now because when I first even started the life coaching thing, I wasn't ready to serve clients.
Hmm.
I had to get to another stage to get beyond that to be able to serve the client because there was still more information that I needed, which was the presence piece, right? Which
Right.
ultimately became the first pillar.
Hmm.
I had the second and the third pillar, strength and action, but I didn't have presence yet. And when presence came, everything was like, I
Yes.
knew exactly what to
Right.
do for first because I'd walked through it. I healed
Right.
myself, as you said. And the other piece of it was the how to be a natural healer. Because it's
Hmm.
not medication and medicines and all of those things. You got to heal your body the way that God designed us to be able to heal our bodies,
Right.
and allow the body to do what He already designed it to do.
Yeah.
And knowing that piece. And when you're disconnected like that, it almost felt like I had to learn me, like learn myself all again, get to know who I am. What do I like? What do I not like? Like what are those things?
Yeah,
And
and they are powerful questions to ask yourself because if you think about, all of the experiences that you had from relationships to jobs and things like that, and now you get to a certain point in your life and you're like, well, who am I? Like, what do I really want? What do I
that's
really like? And you start to see that it is totally different from the way that you're operating right now. It's like the biggest wake up call ever, right? But it doesn't mean that it's the end. It means it's the beginning. It's
absolutely.
yes. Hmm.
And it also, this just came in the frame a couple of weeks ago because so many people feel like I'm starting over. I got to rebuild. No, you building and you just starting.
Hmm.
It's not, you're not going back to that. You don't want to go back to that. You don't want that. What can the new vision and the new life look like?
Right. Right. I love
You know,
that. What does a new vision and new life look like? Exactly, because a lot of us, we don't know what that looks like because we are so bombarded with life. We don't even give ourselves the opportunity to think of what could be.
the possibilities. And that's my jam, that vision.
Oh, you got it. You got
I
it.
get right from the start. Let's think about the possibilities where we can go. So the what birthed out of that for me was the vision tracker to
Yeah.
like really help you look at each piece. What do
Right.
you want it to look like? What do you want it to feel like? What do
Right.
you, what's on your dreams and what's in your
Right.
heart? What's on your mind? Let's look at that.
Right.
You can
And
really
a
help.
lot of this is like you also have to be ready, right? We cannot want it for you more than you want it for yourself.
Absolutely. That's
As coaches,
definitely
like we
hard.
want everyone to succeed, but if you are not ready to do the work, then my suggestion would be to go back and sit with self and figure out what it is that you really want to do. Because this path here, especially from a soul realignment coach, this work that I do is not for the faint.
Absolutely.
once you start, things are activated. You talk to all my clients. Once they start work with me, it come up.
All of it comes up. And right. And we need to collaborate on that, because that's what part of my, so the action piece in the pillar, right, is you have to pause. You got to pause. You got to be still so that you
Mhm.
can hear.
Yeah.
Then you
Mhm.
record. So you be still, you listen, and you record, because
Mhm.
all the answers are within you. Nobody knows it but you. No one has the answer. No one. It's
Right.
already in you. And
Yeah.
getting to that piece. And so many of the people that I'm called to serve are doing too much. You doing too much. If you
Oh my
listen,
God.
you doing too much.
Yeah.
And you gotta, and so I help work with you to get you to put yourself first on your own list.
Right. And that's a good point. Let's talk about that, right? Because why is it so hard for us women to put ourselves first? Like I don't know if you could
You want to
read
go
this
there?
or not, because my husband made it for me, and it says stay selfish.
Yes,
It is so hard for us to put us first because we're
absolutely.
just taking care of everybody else, or we're doing this, or we at work, or we this and that. And then when it
Absolutely.
comes time for you to do you, you like, what
Back
is that?
back burner.
Or when it's time for you to talk about you, who are you? What do? You ever find it hard? Because I mean, I'm not exempt from this. This happened to me early in my journey, and,
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, I'm a mom, like, like, and it's just like, well, wait a minute, like, I am, but I am more than that. So
absolutely.
you have to really start to sit with yourself and ask yourself, like, who am I?
For me, figuring out my, 'cause I never thought about future things. I didn't begin to even think about the future until I became a mother.
Hmm.
Other
Yeah.
before that, I was just living each day with no plan, no nothing, just taking it as it comes. And pretty much, I feel like that's what you have to do anyway, because the future isn't promised and the past doesn't exist unless you bring it into the present.
So the only thing right now is the right now.
Though right now,
What we are consciously doing right now is having this conversation. We're not anywhere else but right here, right now.
absolutely right now. And even that's what I learned. That's where God is. He in it. He we already did that, right? So
Yeah. When you
don't
signed up to come here, you signed up. And I know this is a little deep, and
go
I
deep,
understand
girl. Go
not
deep. That's what we do.
everybody understands that. We do, right? You signed up to be here. You chose what you wanted to experience before coming here, right? And then when we are born, we forget all of that. The memory is washed away because it wouldn't be an experience if you already knew it was going to happen, right?
Mhm.
So along the way, there are awakening points, is what I like to call them. You start seeing synchronicities. You'll get a deja vu. You'll get a memory of something, and you're like, "Well, where did that come from?" So they're little breadcrumbs to you are awakening to self and what the mission is as you're here. And then some step into it, some do not for whatever reason.
Because they're
But
scared. They ain't ready.
and I mean, I will say I mean, just depending on how you experience it, it can be a scary situation, or it could be, you know what, I'm ready. Because I thought to myself, like, I've done everything else. I have a successful, career. I've worked in corporate for a very long time, always coaching, leading teams, being a mentor for people. So already really doing the work ever since early on in my corporate journey. And you see how everything just comes together. But it
Right.
needed to have that pivotal moment, right? Where it's like, okay, you need to go all the way in. And I'm sorry that this all the way in is going to take for this to happen. But this all the way in is what's going to make you get over
Absolutely. I love how I see your face light up.
there.
Talk, talk that talk, girl.
I mean, 'cause so it's what it is, and that's what we talk about, what we do, like in our business, and building a framework around, like, your divine gifts. So, empowering women to operate in their divine gifts and stop playing small.
Stop playing small. Stop,
Yeah.
stop letting everybody else design your life for you.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
do it. You get to do it. You get to say it. Stop living your life for other people. Because
Yeah.
what other big thing was, I felt like I was living my life for my mother, living my life for my son,
Yeah.
not myself.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, and that in itself is so powerful too, because as a mom, and as a wife, and we've both experienced both of these things in just different ways, we know how easy it is to not just put yourself on the back burner, but don't even value yourself enough to know, like, hey, I could run a company. I could be a business owner and still be a mom and a wife and all of these things. We're like programmed to believe it's one or the other, and it's
absolutely.
not.
And I would say for me, when I was in the valley of the shadow of, yeah, in the shadows, it was also believing that someone else was supposed to make me happy, and I was and
That
I was
part right
responsible for
there.
my own happiness.
Yes.
I
Oh my
think that
gosh,
was
that's so pivotal right there.
game changer. That changed the whole game. And I had, before we got married, I had been given a vision around all of these things. And I was thinking it was for him, for me to help be his complement and all of that. And then when I got quiet, when I went in my war room and I was just being quiet and still, Spirit revealed to me, if it had been for him, I would have given it to him. It was for you. And I realized that's the whole reason I got married in the first place, because I was following the vision that
Yeah.
was mine, but I believe in it was somebody else's. And
Yeah.
so, yeah,
And then you notice how things just didn't like happen. It didn't come to fruition. And that's my biggest thing. What is meant for me is going to come to me, or it's going to be derailed until I figure out, or they place me over to where I'm supposed to be at. So it's no worry about, like, oh, I'm going to miss it and it's not going to happen. That's just not true. At least that's just what
yeah,
I believe. That's not how it's going to work out. So you have to go through those lessons, get derailed, fall, get back up, have things happen, and then you get back on track. No one else is
another
going
piece.
to reap the benefits, because what's yours is yours.
Absolutely. And that just speaks so many things, because I'm living that right now. Because
Mhm.
Spirit didn't just like kick me out of working for other people. Like,
Ah,
look, girl, you taking too long.
oh
No.
gosh, let's talk about
Oh, when both of the certifications are finishing, like I just, who knew?
I
It's like,
remember when you said, well, push come to shove, the other plan could be I'll just go back. And then I said, she not going back there. That is not that. The Devon said, oh, did you think that was an option? Let
right.
me just close the door on that option.
No, no, man. I was like, okay, okay. I got it this time, for real.
Yeah, they said, let me just knock that one out. That's no longer an option.
And what you don't realize is that going through these things are really not even for you.
Mhm.
Well,
I
they're
know what
happening
you
to you. I said that wrong. They're happening to you. It's because it's happening for you.
mean. Yes, I know
You
exactly
to
what you
walk
meant.
in purpose, be able to be called who
Yeah,
you and to serve who you supposed to serve.
yeah. And
All
then
of, go ahead, girl.
and
Because
then that goes back to alignment too, right?
yes,
It's just like, oh, did you think that was where? No, okay.
because
So let me make it more clear.
and you end up having to surrender.
Yes,
You realize that you ain't controlling nothing.
being in control, right? And that's part of intention. That's part of manifestation. That's part of everything, because you have to let it go to allow it to do what it needs to do. But if it's like, the elders used to say, and my family was always good for these things, having one foot in and one foot out. Like, you can't have one over here and one over here. Like, what you doing? Like,
Yeah, remember
you
we
got to
had
be
a
right where
conversation
you
talking about them sayings. Woo!
right.
Now we understand. So
Now we understand. I say it all the time. I was like, oh, that's what they meant about that.
Yes. Woo! Lord
Yes.
have mercy. And
Yeah.
I don't like to be hard headed. I really don't, because it just takes way too long for all of the things.
But I don't think like, well, for me, I don't think it's hard headed, right? It's just it's like I think I got a better way.
Yeah, that
And
would be me.
then
Yeah.
you like, oh, maybe I don't have a better way.
Girl, when I had my son, that's when I realized, oh, my mother do know what she's talking.
Right?
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. You had them
Yeah,
kids,
listen.
you know for sure.
Oh my God. Let us segue, because I know we got time and we'll be on here forever. So I need to
You
do
will.
that. Tell the beautiful people that'll watch this. Tell them about your offer and who you are and who you serve and what you do.
Sure. So my name is Ceria, but everyone calls me CeCe. I am the founder and CEO of Soul Liberation. My well, let me tell you who I serve. As I've been saying out, here is that I serve women, and I empower women. Let me correct that. I empower women to thrive in their divine essence. That means aligning your divine gifts with your business so that you can build a sustainable business for yourself. um, I can be found on social media at Soul Liberation 74, or you can go to soulliberation.org, where you can see, all my beautiful work, all my testimonies, and actually what I do. Right now, I am offering a crystal clarity
Mhm.
sessions, and they are phenomenal. And that is where we will take a deep dive into your business, look at your framework, see the things within your framework to see if they are aligned with who you are and your divine gifts. And we will work on your framework to either repurpose it or create one for you, that's in more alignment with what you are supposed to be doing, your life purpose. All summed up.
Oh, man, and she's really good at it, y'all. She helped your girl get it all together.
It's really, really, with such gratitude. And, I love what I do. You've worked with me. So many other people have worked with me before. And I really love this work because once you're able to actually see and know who you are and stand in that truth and come into alignment, everything is so much clearer for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No diggity, no doubt. And I feel like that's where you helped me get a little bit clear about who I was serving and use the word narcissist instead
Yeah.
of dancing around a narcissist.
Yeah.
So I am Selina Kelley, your business and empowerment coach, and I am called to serve Christian women that are I'm guiding you through life after a narcissist to help you stay free and break free from Christian narcissism so that you can begin to live your dream life and make it a reality. And you do that by going in from the inside out. That's what
Love it. Love it. Love it.
I offer empowerment coaching. So that's the first phase of the coaching when you've left that life, and what does life after a narcissist look like? I help you claim your power and find identity.
Mhm.
We get right to the meat of the matter. It is deep work. It's not for the faint of heart, and it's okay if you're not ready yet. But if
You
you
the
are ready,
truth.
that's right.
I love it. Yes, I absolutely love it.
And then there's a second part. I also offer business coaching because now you want to make your dreams a reality. If you decide that you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to bring that vision to life, I specialize in helping you figure out what the possibilities are for yourself and then
Mm,
making your dreams a reality. Absolutely. I'm
yes.
on these in these social media streets as Disrupt Her coach because we need to disrupt some shit. You've been maintaining the sweat status quo long enough and it is not working for you. You've seen how that works.
Yeah.
So now we're going to design the life that you deserve. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I love that because what what you carry on in your personal life is what you take into your business as well. So
Absolutely.
they call
Yeah.
me the school guide business coach.
Absolutely. I'm
Yes.
as the disruptor coach. And we're
Yes.
going to call it a day because we got to get out here and do some disrupting and guiding some souls.
Yes. We do. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. We always have a blast every time we're on.
Yes, absolutely. Maybe we'll do this again sometime in the near future.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you. It's good to
Thank
see
you.
you.
All righty. Bye.